Welcome to the manufacturing segment of our video blogs. If you are at the concept stage, you're probably watching this for budgetary purposes. If you're fully funded, this is going to be a really great informational video for you. But I do encourage you to please step back and do the market viability testing first, because that is overlooked with many independent inventors. And doing that market viability test prior to manufacturing will save you a lot of headaches over time. Now, I do want to let you know too, I'm approaching this not just from an educational, academic perspective and not completely from a service provider perspective. This is something that I live and breathe, and we launch our own products to market and have learned some really good tips along the way. The gentleman in the center is my husband, Stuart, and in 2000, he went over to China to find our first manufacturer, and we met James, who we now know was a sourcing agent. And James came to our house in 2009, and over these years has taught us so much about manufacturing, and I think I can save you some time and money by sharing some of these tips. There's so much built into the process that's behind the scenes. A lot of people aren't aware of it, but really, if you think about it, we hear about the automotive industry and how they lose $1 million a minute if their plant stops running. That similar dynamic is in play for any manufacturer whose goal is to make as many product as they can with the most automation in the least amount of time. So you need to be aware of some challenges that your manufacturer faces and some costs that you're going to have to incur. The first one is the pre-production prototypes. Those are made before the molds, but it is a cost that the inventor needs to incur. Also, those molds can be $10,000 to $30,000 per mold, depending on the complexity of your product. Now, some manufacturers want that money up front. Others will kind of defer it or amortize it into the cost of several production runs, but you need to be aware that increases your cost of goods, which creates problems in other areas. So it's all a give and take. It's a balance. The other thing is quality control. This is a big issue. So I do recommend that you also hire a third-party testing company, and they'll come in and pull 1 out of every 100 of the units that come off the line and investigate the quality. And having that third set of eyes from an independent party really does help improve the quality quite a bit. Then there's retooling, and that also is something that the manufacturer is going to have to deal with because they've got to stop the line. And in that process, they're going to be working with what's called a sourcing agent. And this is important for you to understand because these sourcing agents are often positioned to be as if they are the manufacturer. And really, there's not a clear way for you always to know if you're dealing with a sourcing agent or the manufacturer. The sourcing agents are on 100% commission, and they're like a matchmaker. They take a percent off the back end from the manufacturer, and they take a percent off the front end from the inventor. So it's important to recognize that that does increase the cost, although they do provide a really valuable service and can get you to the right manufacturer many times. There's short-run capacity challenges that are really important for you to understand because, again, the manufacturer is making their money on large customers buying large quantities. But every now and then, those customers have gaps or have different product lines that come in and out, and that creates holes in the manufacturer's production run. So they will sometimes go to the independent inventor community and fill those holes with your particular item. But you need to be aware when that's happening that they've got operational challenges because of that, and those short runs that you're asking them to do are really gap fillers for them. So how much mind share you're going to get, is a question. But really the bigger issue does come down to materials and quality, because as an independent inventor on a small run, you're not buying enough product to generate the large materials that are required for most rollouts. Those materials are in big giant spools, and generally what a large customer will do is they know there's flaws in those spools, and so they'll say cut off the first part of the spool and cut off the last part because that's where the majority of the flaws lie, and then they'll make the other people's products out of the middle material. Well, so what happens, you've got all these plants laying around everywhere that have this leftover material, the lower quality part of the spool left over, and sometimes they will go around and buy that material for one another in order to do the small run manufacturing to serve the independent inventor client. So what's happening is they're going around and finding someone else's trash and putting it into your treasure. And that really does increase the quality in pretty significant ways. So just keep in mind that that's what's going on. And then the mind share and the relationship and the knockoffs, we've all heard those stories. I want to tell you a true life war story of the windshield wonder inventor who was working with our partners at Will at Launch, and this is Earl Pardo who was working on that project. That inventor came and had the windshield wonder made in China, and this product right here was being made for $6 cost of good. Not bad, pretty good. By the time our group was done with it, this is the product. And guess how much this was? $1.60. Pretty significant quality difference when you look at the experience, the relationships, and the economies of scale. Because we're talking, for a TV rollout, we're talking millions of units sold. And you can really increase the quality and decrease the cost pretty significantly when you're talking about that kind of economies of scale. So I encourage you to really think about that. Whatever you do, I encourage you to keep learning, because inventing is a really fun business. And this is an opportunity where you can actually work with a team of people that can take your product right out of your head and make it into a real life product that's sellable in the market. So please keep learning, keep reading the blogs, keep connecting with us on social networks, and keep living the dream. Good luck. See you on the other side.